Hello, everyone. So today I will be showing you the newest addition to the Billiards Everything app, and that's the triples button that we can see right here in bright pink. So let's click on it, and as we can see, we get a list of stables, unstables, and stables right here. So I'll demonstrate how to use it. Let's try this stable right here, and let's enter it into the first stables window. Then let's put in 1, 2, 1, 2 as our unstable. And lastly, just put in 1, 1, 1 as our other stable. So let's press calculate. And when we do this, what happens is that the cover window right here will automatically get these two triples entered. So what these two triples are is just the combination of this stable, this unstable, and this stable. And if we go to the terminal, we can see here that it also printed those triples, and it says working triples below. What that means is that those triples are valid, so they are perfectly usable. So you might think, okay, this is nice, it works, but I could also just copy this, right? As a stable, as a triple, I mean, and copy, paste, and that's also pretty fast. Now, imagine instead that we took all of these tables right here and that we combine them with the unstable and the stable from the previous example. So the 1, 2, 1, 2 and the 1, 1, 1. If we did this and press calculate, then this would automatically create all those triples for us, put them in the cover window, and then we don't have to think about it anymore. So it's a much faster way of making triples. Now, there's one more addition to this version of Billiards Everything, and that's the find factors. So if we check that box right there, we will see that it says full triples, half triples, equations, and factors. So these are the three different things that we can do with this functionality. So let's first try out a full triple. And a full triple is just a triple as we know it. So it's a stable followed by an unstable and then a stable once again. So for example, this one, that's a full triple. And let's press calculate. Now, when we go to the terminal, we get this. We get a list of equations. It says factor, removing, leaving, factor, removing, leaving. Now, what does that mean exactly? So from a theoretical point of view, let's look at the factor first. So here it says cosine of x plus y. Now, what does that actually mean? So notice that 1, 2, 1, 2 is the unstable that we used. When we enter it into the info window right here, we see that it has a constraint. And that constraint is x plus y minus 90. Now, when will that be equal to 0? That expression right there. That's only 0 when x plus y is equal to 90. And interestingly enough, cosine of x plus y is 0 when x plus y is equal to 90. And that's how we get that factor. So we somehow, it's a way of converting this constraint into a cosine equation. Now, we see a removing here. So it says cosine y plus cosine 2x plus y. Now that comes from the stables. So let's take this table right here and let's put it into the info window. And here at the bottom, we see that there's a list of equations. And if we compare that list to the terminal, we see that cosine y plus cosine 2x plus y is found right here. So that's where that equation comes from. And what we will try to do now is to try to factor this equation from this one. And when we do that, we end up with cosine x. And in order to do that, it's a very simple process. It's just basic. Well, we first of all turn the cosines into um, e to the I x or e to the I y terms, and then perform usual polynomial division. And since they are indeed factors, so this is a factor of this one right here, um, it divides out nicely and we get this equation in return. Now it's a similar thing for this equation right here. That equation, we get it from the other stable that we used in the triple. So that would be this one right here, the 111. If we enter it into the info and we press show, we see that we have this right here, minus cosine x plus y. And once again, when we try to factor this from this, we end up with, well, cosine of 0. Lastly, well, before I show you the equations and factors, let me show you one half triple. And a half triple is just a triple with the last stable removed. So this would be an example of one. And when we press calculate, we see it's a very similar result. We just get the factor from before, which is obtained from the constraint of the unstable, and then that same equation and the factored out equation. So that's simple enough. Now let's try the equations and factors. So for that, we will need to enter a sine or cosine equation, and then a comma followed by another sine or cosine equation. So let's try this one right here, sine 2x and sine x. When we press calculate, we get this. And as you can see, this is the first equation that we entered. This is the second equation that we entered. And then when what we will do is to factor this from this equation. And as a result, we get cosine of x. And that's pretty much it. So what this new addition does is to factor out equations from other equations. And one thing that we have to keep in mind is that these equations are always sine equations or cosine equations. We will never find something like sine plus cosine x, where sines and cosines are mixed inside of the same equation. Let's do one example where maybe the factor and the equation won't work so nicely. So let's say, for example, sine 2x, and we're going to try to factor cosine 3x from sine 2x. Let's press calculate. Okay. And let's go to the bottom of the terminal. And as you can see, we didn't get any removing or leaving statements. So that just means that cosine 3x is not a factor of sine 2x. And that is pretty much it. Thank you very much for watching.